Alex. Hey, David. Have you ever heard of Pablo Escobar? David. Pablo Escobar? Sounds familiar, but I don't really know much about him. Who was he? Alex. Oh man, you're in for a wild story. He was one of the richest criminals in history, a drug lord from Colombia. At one point, he was making so much money that he had to bury stacks of cash in the ground. David. What? That sounds crazy. Wait, tell me everything. Who is he really? Alex. All right, that's exactly what this video is for. Today, we're going to talk about the unbelievable life of Pablo Escobar. And while you listen to this exciting story, you'll also be learning English through stories. So, sit back and let's begin. It was December 1st, 1949, when a boy named Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born in a small town called Rio Negro in Colombia. His family was not rich. His father was a farmer, and his mother was a schoolteacher. Life was simple, but young Pablo was different. He wanted more. He didn't just want to survive. He wanted power, he wanted money, and he wanted to be the biggest man in Colombia. As a teenager, Pablo started small. He would steal tombstones, large stones placed over graves, from cemeteries, remove the names, and sell them. Later, he moved on to selling fake lottery tickets and smuggling, illegally bringing something into a country, electronics. He was smart, fearless, and always looking for new ways to make money. But it was in the 1970s that his life changed completely. He found something much bigger, cocaine. At that time, cocaine was a new drug. It was expensive, rare, and mostly used in the United States. Pablo saw an opportunity. If he could bring cocaine from Colombia to the US, he could make millions. No billions. So, he started the Medellin cartel, a group that would control the cocaine business. And business was good. By the 1980s, around 80% of the world's cocaine was coming from his cartel. At his peak, he was making around $420 million every week. That's right, every week. He had so much cash that his cartel spent around $2,500 every month just on rubber bands to tie the money together. David. Wait, what? He had more money than he could count? Alex. Exactly. And do you know what he did with it? He hid it everywhere. He buried money in farms, houses, walls, even in the jungle. And get this, because he had so much money hidden in the ground, about 10% of it was destroyed every year by rats or just got lost forever. David, that's insane. But wait, didn't the government stop him? Alex, oh, they tried. But Pablo was not just a criminal. He was also like a king. He built hospitals, schools, and even gave money to the poor. People in Medellin loved him. They called him Robin Hood because he gave back to the poor while stealing from the rich. But he was also very dangerous. If anyone stood in his way, he had one rule: plata o plomo, silver or lead. It meant you either take his money and work with him, or you take a bullet and die. Many judges, police officers, and even politicians lost their lives because they tried to stop him. At one point, he was responsible for killing over 4,000 people. David, that's terrifying. So, what happened? Did he ever go to jail? Alex, oh, you won't believe this. He built his own jail. David, what? His own jail? Alex, yes. In 1991, the Colombian government finally made a deal with him. They told him to go to jail, but he agreed only on one condition. He would build the jail himself. And guess what? It wasn't a normal jail. It had a nightclub, a football field, a waterfall, and even a luxury kitchen. He called it La Catedral. He continued running his business from inside, living like a king. David, unbelievable. So how did they catch him? Alex, that's the interesting part. By 1992, the government had had enough. They decided to take him down for good. They moved him to a real prison. But Pablo escaped before they could catch him. He was on the run, hiding in different places. The police and a special team from the US were looking for him day and night. And finally, on December 2nd, 1993, they found him. In a house in Medellin, the police surrounded him, and a shootout began. Pablo tried to escape across the rooftops, but he was shot and killed. David, whoa, that's how he died. On a rooftop? Alex, yes. And here's something crazy. When he died, more than 25,000 people came to his funeral. Even after everything he had done, many poor people in Medellin still saw him as a hero. David, that's so strange. He was a criminal, but also a legend in some way. Alex, exactly. He was a man of two sides. Some feared him, some loved him. His story is one of power, money, crime, and a tragic end. David, this was an insane story. But I have one question. What can we learn from it? Alex, that's the most important part. Pablo had everything: money, power, and influence. But in the end, what did he get? A life full of fear, running, and an early death. He could have used his intelligence for good, but he chose the wrong path. The lesson? No matter how successful you become, if you gain power the wrong way, it won't last. True success is about making the right choices, helping others, and building something that doesn't hurt people. So, chase your dreams, but do it the right way. Alex. All right, David. Now that we've covered the rise and fall of Pablo Escobar, let's dive into some of the lesser-known facts about him. There are some unbelievable things that most people don't know. David, oh, I love the secret stuff. Tell me, Alex. All right, here's one. Did you know that at one point, Pablo Escobar offered to pay off Colombia's entire national debt? David, wait, what? The whole country's debt? Alex, yes. In the late 1980s, Colombia was struggling with billions of dollars in debt. Escobar, with all his money, offered the government $10 billion to clear it. In return, he wanted one thing: amnesty. He wanted to stop being hunted and live in peace. Of course, the government refused. David, that's crazy. If they had accepted, the whole country would have been free of debt. Alex, true, but imagine the cost. It would mean giving a free pass to one of the world's biggest criminals. David, yeah, that would have been dangerous. Alex, here's another wild fact. He burned money just to keep his family warm. David, what? Like, literally burn cash? Alex, yes. When he was on the run with his family in the mountains, his daughter was freezing. So, Pablo burned $2 million in cash to keep her warm. David, that is just unbelievable. Most people would do anything to have that money, and he just burned it. Alex, that's the kind of wealth he had. But here's something even crazier: his private zoo. Have you heard about Escobar's hippos? David, hippos? Like the big river animals? Alex, exactly. Pablo had his own zoo at his estate, Hacienda Napoles. He imported elephants, giraffes, zebras, and yes, hippos. After his death, many of the animals were moved to different zoos, but the hippos, they were left behind. David, wait. So what happened to them? Alex, well, now Colombia has a hippo problem. The hippos escaped, multiplied, And now there's a wild population living in rivers. They are actually a big problem for the environment, and scientists are still figuring out what to do about them. David, wow, he left behind more than just money. He left behind wild hippos. Alex, exactly. And here's one last crazy fact. When the police raided one of his houses, they found something shocking. A stack of money, but not just any money. One of the bills had a rat's bite mark. David, a rat bit his money? Alex, yes. That's because, as I mentioned earlier, he had so much money hidden in places that a lot of it got lost or destroyed by animals. Experts believe he lost around $2 billion every year because of spoilage. David, I can't even imagine losing that kind of money. His life was full of extremes. Alex, it really was. But before we end this story, let's take a moment to reflect. What can we learn from Pablo Escobar's life? David, I guess it shows that money and power don't always bring happiness. He had everything but spent his final years running and hiding. Alex, exactly. He had intelligence, ambition, and leadership skills, qualities that could have made him a great man. But he chose the wrong path. He gained the world but lost his soul. David, that's deep. Alex, it is. So, the takeaway is this: success is not just about making money. It's about doing something good, something that lasts, something that helps others. If you want to be truly successful, build something that makes the world better, not worse. David, that's a lesson worth remembering. Alex, absolutely. And that wraps up our story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. David, and tell us in the comments, what's the biggest lesson you learned from Pablo Escobar's life? Alex, see you in the next story. Learn English through stories and keep growing.